Welcome to the MMAOB Daily Podcast for Monday, September 19th, 2022. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host here on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, how's it going, man?
Everything's going good, man. Had a good weekend. Now at Monday, no UFC event on Saturday, which kind of sucks, you know. I always looking forward to it, and right now we got it like things like what's that? Cage Warriors. I hear myself double, by the way, for some reason.
You there, Marcel?
I hear myself double, yeah.
I maybe go in and go out again or something. I hear you fine personally. Is everyone hearing Marcel fine? Just throw it in the chat. I hear him fine. I think it's okay with me. We got hype in the chat. Blessed to be alive and well trained. You guys once more. Appreciate that, man. Your boy Horiguchi in the picture doesn't have his belts anymore, right? So you gotta get a new picture there, my friend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about UFC Vegas 60. We'll recap the card for you guys, and we'll recap Contender Series. Again, there's no UFC this weekend, right? So the second podcast, we'll do it at here's Marcel. Everyone said you're fine, by the way.
Dude,
I thought so too.
Bro, I'm a fucking dumb fucker. I had YouTube open, so I heard.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly why. I was just telling her we're gonna do this show, and then the second one, it's just gonna be like we're gonna do Bellator. We'll preview that quickly, and then we'll take some questions. But the second podcast will only be like half an hour, probably, just because there is no UFC to preview. And if we can get out here early, we'll do that. We got some people in the chat, tons of people. Marcel, we got lots of people here, man, which is great. They're all like, "You're fine," but apparently you're the dumbass who had the YouTube app open in the background. So, what's up, everyone? How's everyone going? Look at this guy. No UFC, so he has to hang out with his wife. That's too bad, Todd. I feel sorry for you. I'm just joking, man. You got to do like real things, right? You got to spend time with the family. You can't just sit in front of the TV watching the fights. Although I do that with my family, anyways. Life of an MMA journalist. Just a quick question. Why was Dawkins Rosenstrike removed? I don't know, but I heard about, I think you or Cole was saying this like a few days ago that he wasn't doing interviews, so we kind of knew something was up. Any idea? Do you know?
I don't know, but when Chris Dawkins tweeted like 2.5 weeks ago that his fight was off the card,
right?
I heard immediately that it was probably rebooked for 282, but I hadn't got it confirmed until Nolan posted it yesterday, and 10 minutes later I got it confirmed that it was 282 indeed. So I didn't actually ask why they rebooked it or whatever. So yeah, I don't know why, but fight is still on, just a little bit later, right?
Yeah, it's at 282 now, so that's at the end of the year. It's the last pay-per-view of the year. Again, we do have an off week this week, guys. It's rare, right? But then we have another one in a couple of weeks, and then there's another one in November. It's kind of weird.
Really
and then
weird.
At the end of the year, there's like 3 weeks where there's no card. All right, let's get into the recap now, Marcel. We're gonna go over everything that happened at UFC Vegas 60. So we had 13 fights end up happening. Let's start with the main event, Marcel, as we always do, and work our way down. So Cory Sandhagen defeats Yadong, 4th round TKO due to doctor stoppage. Due to a really nasty cut. It was a really good fight. I thought it was a very competitive fight. Song was in the fight for sure, but the cut was so bad. The doctor gave him every opportunity to keep fighting, by the way. That doc, I know you love that doctor, Marcel. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about that guy in a second, but he really did give him a chance to keep fighting because I really feel like you could have stopped that fight a round sooner, maybe even. But I thought both guys looked really good, but I thought Sandhagen looked even better. Obviously, he got the win. He's the one who got the job done here. I don't agree with the scorecards from the judges. 2 of them had a 2-2 heading into that 5th round, which means that just say Song did win the 5th, he would have actually won a decision, which is kind of crazy to me because I thought it was definitely 3-1, Marcel, for Sandhagen heading into that 5th round. Because other than, I think it was I can't remember. I think it was the first round, right? The Song would have won. And then after that, Cory, I think, started really taking over. And here's the thing, that second round, it was competitive. And Song did land a big punch at one point, but that cut, that's damage. That's a lot of damage. And that eventually caused the fight to stop, right? So I think you have to give that guy a lot of credit and a lot of points for that cut. So overall, I thought it was a great fight. Sandhagen looked great game plan. Give me your thoughts, man, because it was an awesome fight.
Great fight, pretty much as expected. A great fight, you know. It's pretty much 2 strikers who are going at it, you know. We know Sandhagen has an okay ground game and Yadong as well, but both guys prefer the striking battle. I had 3-1 for Sandhagen in the after 4 rounds. You know, I think he won 3 of the four rounds. But the thing is, man, for some reason the judges love Song Yadong, man. You saw it in the Chito Vera fight. You saw it in the Cody Stamen fight. You know. So I wasn't that surprised with it. The cut. It could have been stopped after the third round, I think. They stopped it after the fourth round, and I think it's a good thing they stopped it, because I didn't see Song winning it anymore, although it was 2-2. I think it was 3-1, but that's from my point of view at that moment. I didn't know the scorecards at that moment. Nobody knew. So it was 3-1. I didn't see Song winning it anymore. And also that cut was nasty and it was getting bigger every single time Sandhagen touched it. So for me, it was a good stoppage. I feel bad for Song, obviously, and so even Sandhagen felt bad for Song. You saw his reaction, but I think it was a justified stoppage. I think it's good. You should protect the fighter, and we'll come to even worse cut in a second. With Gregory Rodrigues, but yeah, it was a good stoppage, a good fight. That did it deserve fight of the night? Not over the other one, but it could have been a fight of the night on any other card. I think it was a good fight. Overall, yeah, it delivered. I think.
Yeah, it was a great fight, and the guy told the doctor he couldn't see, guys. Like there was a bad cut. Like the blood was pouring into his eyes. Like I said, I think they could have stopped it a round sooner. Like these guys have a lot of heart, right? They want to win the fight. Again, half their money's on the line, right? Like his win bonus on the line. But Marcel, like fighter safety is crucial. And I was looking at Eric McGracken. He's like a Twitter guy. He's a lawyer. He does a lot of talks a lot about like the laws and stuff. Basically, he said that like if the fight continued and Song was permanently damaged, like the doctor could have been sued because he didn't stop the fight. So that's something they have to keep in mind as well. They have to stop it if it's that bad where it's like it could permanently injure a guy. So it is what it is, Marcel. I would have loved the fight to continue that fifth round, to be honest with you. But as someone who did bet on Sandhagen, I'm so glad it didn't because, man, if there's going to be a split decision and Song won at the end, I would have been so angry about that. But I thought it was 3-1. I really do, guys. Like that cut's damage. What's the number one criteria, Marcel? It's effective striking, right?
Yeah,
which is damage. Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, man. Do you think like when Song says like I can't see, is there also not something with the corner who should protect their fighters? Like, it's over.
Oh yeah, I think Faber and Castillo could have stopped the fight too.
Yeah.
Because he's a young guy. He's only 24, guys.
Exactly,
like, but this loss doesn't hurt him at all. Marcel, go ahead.
It's like people act like it's like giving up. It's not giving up if you can't see anymore. It's protecting your fighter, in my opinion. And I feel like many corners feel like if they stop the fight, they're giving up. And that's not the case. Or maybe people will say like, yeah, you're not an athlete, you don't feel the same way. No, but I'm looking at it, and I think many people are looking at it as well. And it's not. Listen, man, he didn't want out. He wanted to continue the fight. So obviously, but you should protect your fighter if the ref doesn't do it, or the the judge, or the what do you say it, the guy who, what's his name again? The doctor doesn't do it.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself. And I saw it sometimes that corners did it. But not very often. And maybe this is a bad example for it. Because I think we've seen cuts like this, but it's still a bad cut, But you see with corners, they really don't like to pull the plug with fighters like, no, you're not going to go any more further. That's something I never really understand. I can't understand. I sometimes don't. I understand when you're a coach and you bet on your fighter that you don't want to say it's over, but it's just saying.
Yeah, I mean, if it was James Krause, right? There's no way he stops it because he definitely had a bet on this guy. By the way, when did he stop going by the Sandman? Because I noticed they took it off his profile in UFC stats. Do you know? Like he's not going by that nickname anymore. It's kind of surprising. I like that nickname too, but I guess he decided not to go with it. Get some comments here. Glenn says, with Song's history game, dubious decisions, 2-2 hears, there's something fishy. Judges loves Dana's favorite fighters. I don't know about that. I think that the judges, they just thought he won the round. I guess there was that big punch that was landed in the second round. I think up to that point, Song was winning the round. But again, that elbow that sliced him open, guys, like that overrides that punch for sure. The cut was horrible, and it's caused by it. It wasn't like it was an accidental head clash more so that caused the cut. It was a legal move. It was an elbow.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, man? How's it going? Let's keep going here. It'll be interesting if Sandhagen gets next. Who would you favor to win, Sandhagen versus Merab? Oh, man. Because the thing is, like, Song did get that takedown at one point. I think it was in the first round, right? Controlled him pretty easily. I mean, and Merab has got an endless gas tank, too. The striking of Sandhagen would give him issues, but it sure Aldo's striking, I thought would give him issues too, and it didn't. So, and Aldo retired, by the way. That's really surprising news.
We should talk about that in the next podcast as well.
Sure, we'll do that. That sounds a good idea. I would rather see Sandhagen versus Marlon Vera. I think that's just a more fan-friendly fight. I think it's a more fun, exciting matchup. Marlon was asked about that. He was there in the crowd, by the way, and someone asked him, and he said he wants to take the fight. By the way, my friend messaged me after the fight. He's like, dude, Marlon Vera looks fucking stoned as hell. I was like, he probably is, dude. We definitely know in the San Diego fight when he fought, what was it? What was his last fight?
Cruz. Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. Remember he said like the whole arena was full of people smoking weed, so guarantee you he indulges as well. The Bistics to the Doctor approved. What's up, Juan? Probably. I don't know, but like I'm not sure. I just like I said, there's this guy on Twitter that he's like a lawyer that talks about that stuff. So this is a good point too. Glenn's talking about the corners being desperate for win bonus. It's true. It's true, man. That's one of the problems with the sport. You know, I love the sport. It's the best sport, right? But let's be honest, like a lot of fighters don't make a lot of money. A lot of the coaches don't make a lot either. So if they think the fighter still has a chance to win, Marcel, and they can get that 50% extra money for everyone, they'll let them continue fighting. That's one of the problems with the win show just situation. I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather just everyone get show money, but also, I don't think they'll be changing anytime soon. So
we also need to talk about Aspen led Sarah McMahon later in this podcast.
We can do that now. Just let me get this last couple comments. Look like favors change. That's hilarious. Hey Joe, what's up? I thought so too. 3-1 sounded right. Okay, we'll quickly talk about that other fight that got canceled. Aspen Line missed weight again. Obviously, guys, the fight got canceled. Did I not call it last week on the podcast, guys? Did I not say I'm not convinced this fight happens? Wait for the weigh-ins. I'm not convinced she makes weight. I think they cut her, Marcel. I don't even think it's worth keeping her on the roster. Like, she's fucking over everyone else, so she screws over her opponents. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I've heard that the UFC didn't want her to go to 145 for some reason, and that's like, why not? You know, it's probably the only way to not be overweight, because at 135 it's just not going to happen anymore for some reason. You saw her on the scale this time; she was 2 pounds over. She looked very dehydrated, but she didn't look like as bad as we saw her before. So in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, she was like, I'm probably not going to make it. I'm not going to hurt myself even more. It's done, you know? And I think that's also what Sarah McMahon saw. I did hear from a good source that Sarah McMahon didn't accept the fight. You know, that they didn't pull Aspen Ladd or whatever. She just didn't accept the fight. She's like, she's 2 pounds over. She's having a big advantage here. She didn't cut the proper weight. I'm not going to fight her, whatever, you know? So, yeah. I mean, on the other side, I'm like, she's 2 pounds over. Take the fucking extra money and fight, you know, and try to win and get the win bonus, you know? On the other hand, I'm like, I understand her as well. You know, it's not her mistake. She made the weight. So, it's like, it's just...
It's a tough situation, honestly. Yeah. Like, they've trained for each other, 3 times now? And the fight's been canceled 3 times, I believe. It's too bad. I did see that Sarah posted on Instagram saying that UFC took care of her. So I'm guessing she got her show money probably, right? I would guess.
Yeah.
Which she deserved. I mean, if you show up, guys, and make the weight, you should get that part of your money. You know?
I'm not going to lie. You know, if you show up and your opponent doesn't make the weight, you got the show money, but you also should get the win bonus, you know, because the opponent failed to make weight and failed to come into the fight, in my opinion, you know. I'm a fan of Aspen Ladd. I think she's a great fighter, you know, but she didn't put it together as of lately, you know.
I'll say this: I think she was a great fighter.
Yeah,
I can't believe, like, at age, what is she, 27?
Yeah,
I think she's like regressed, man, which is shocking, you know, because. Think about it. She was in the UFC. Was it 2017? I want to say when she fought Tanya Evinger. Yeah, it was 2018. Excuse me. She looked amazing in that fight. Remember that fight? She looked like a serious title contender.
It's right before the Randomly fight. She looked amazing. You know,
she looked great. And the Eubanks fight was all. Even the Kunitz-Kalya fight was good.
Yeah.
And the Durandamy fight was. Let's be honest, Marcel. It was kind of a quick stoppage by Herb Dean. They even like appealed it. And
yeah, I know.
5 officials looked at it. 3 of them said it's a fine stoppage. And 2 of them actually said, no, this is a bad stoppage. We're going to consider giving it a no contest. So it was a questionable stoppage. But, you know, Marcel, I just think, you know, since 2019, she's fought twice. She's looked terrible. She looked bad against Dumont. She didn't look good against Pennington until the 3rd round where she finally started wrestling a little bit.
Yeah.
And she actually did make that weight battle. That was earlier this year. But I'm almost wondering, is that the last time she could make the weight? You know, maybe her body's just not going to let her anymore. So
it's possible, you know. Yeah. But that's why I say, Why not let her fight at 145? If you guys,
I'm with you. Like, she's a talented fighter. There's no
if she
doubt, right?
requested it, and the UFC
Yeah.
is like, no, why not? You know, you
Well,
already have
that's
less
on them too. Then,
145.
if that's the case,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So you know what's crazy, Marcel? She used to fight a flyweight at the beginning
Yeah.
of her career. I don't know how she made 120. Right? She's a big girl. There's no doubt. She's too small for 145. I mean, is she though? Because the thing is, she'd be fighting girls like Macy and Norma, who were former bantamweights too. I knew Norma's a big girl, right? She fought her, and there's a size advantage. But Macy to me is like kind of the same size, although she again a bigger girl. The thing is, if she goes to 145, she could put on a little bit more weight. She could put on a little bit more muscle, right? But she's almost getting to bantamweight mark. So she's like 137, 138. Sorry, she was 138 in this fight, but she missed again. So I just don't think there's any chance in hell she ever fights at this weight class in the UFC again. I do think there's a chance she gets cut. I also think there's a chance she goes to 145. It's either that, but 135 is out of the question, guys.
Mm-hmm.
She misses weight 155 to just wait. Yeah, when she signs with PFL and she goes to the 155 division, does Lag get cut? They give her one more at 145. I think it goes either way. She shouldn't take the fight look at Macy. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. She's cutting from too high, so her managers and team boyfriend responsibilities too. For sure. I agree with that, Glenn. Absolutely. Do you think Dana holds grudges to people like McMahon don't accept the fights?
If he really
this
did,
fight's been canceled 3 times.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Apologies.
If he really did, I don't think he really would have compensated her. You know what I mean? So, and then she says, "I'm happy with what I got." So, I mean, I think if she didn't get her show money, she wouldn't say, "I'm happy with what I got." And I kind of feel like she got a little bit more, because then you're not. Otherwise, you're not going to go like on social media.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I've been compensated. You know.
Well, Glenn was saying that her last show disclosed, I guess, was 44. Though she got it all. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. They're not going to say. That's the thing with the UFC, right? They don't say this stuff. Only some commissions release the numbers. Having your head coach be your significant other is a recipe for disaster. It can be. It can also be. Some fighters, it's worked out well for them, but there's a lot of examples where it doesn't work well. Let's be honest, Marcel. There's a lot, and yeah, Laden, Daniel Wolf. I guess that fight could make sense.
I actually like that, because if she can't beat Danielle Wolf, she has nothing to do. She shouldn't be in the UFC anymore.
She would just take her down and beat her up. She wouldn't wait till the third round to take her down like Norma did. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Fight of the night: Gregory Rodrigues defeats Chidi and Njokuani in what I think was one of the best fights of the year. This fight was amazing. What an incredible fight! Wow. I mean, I think I picked Chidi. You picked Rodrigues, right? Good pick here, Marcel. First round,
not the way I expected. By the way,
first round, man, my guy was looking good. That cut was horrible. I definitely thought it was close to getting stopped at one point too. Like, you could see, they showed a picture up. You can see like the veins in his head. It's so gross to look at, but again, it's the doctor did a good job of sewing him up after. The first round was back and forth. Chidi, I guess, kind of got a little tired and got finished. It kind of reminded me of Jake Collier last week with Barnett. Like, front runner does really well, and then kind of gets tired, and the opponent takes over on the ground, especially Rodrigues. We knew that he had the advantage of the ground, right? But he also dropped Chidi as well, Marcel, which kind of surprised me. He's got power though. Now that we know this, like the 3 knockdowns against Marquez, I guess I've been kind of underrating this guy. Like, I really like him, but I've been picking against him. It's not really going my way. Just because I keep thinking again from that Jordan Williams fight, that he's going to get knocked out again. It's not happening. He just keeps surviving somehow. Man, what an amazing fight! Just an incredible back and forth fight, and well deserving a fight of the night. I almost feel like Gregory should have got 2 bonuses. I really do. Like, I think this is one of the best comebacks you'll ever see in MMA. Like, with that, considering the cut. Give me your thoughts on the fight, man. I thought it was amazing.
Let's be really honest. Looking back at it, fight should have been stopped after the first round. At the moment when I saw it, you don't see it that close up. You see the cut, you see it's bad, and the doctor is like, "Okay, can you continue?" Yeah, okay. If you look at it, you see that is an artery, man. By the way, I looked it up, and somebody I think there was somebody, a medic on Twitter. He is like, somebody asked him like, "What was that?" That what you saw there, and he was like, "If that ruptures every time your heart pumps blood, it goes out. It goes to your brain and it goes out or something. So." One of the worst cuts I've ever seen. I think this is way worse than the Marvin Eastwood one everybody's always referring to. The Marvin Eastwood one looking kind of the Song Yadong one, but this one was so much worse. You saw that vein here.
I know.
And it's not often. I can see broken bones. I can see arm twists. I don't care, but that was nasty. And I think Rodrigues, dude, to come back in the second round, take over and TKO him with ground and pound. That's amazing, And for me, it's like maybe you can put that even as a performance of the year, comeback of the year. It's already in the first round he did pretty good. He did pretty good, and he got caught with a knee, and that knee opened it pretty much up. But he came back after that already. And you saw Chidi. Chidi's a fun fighter, but I always had with Chidi, man, if it goes in the UFC to a second or third round, does he still have the cardio to pull through? And I had the feeling like that he was gassing at a certain moment. Rodrigues took over, finished him. I expected Rodrigues to get him down and take a submission win, but he just could beat him up with ground and pound the second round, and he won the fight. Amazing win. Could have been still undefeated in the UFC because the Petrosian one was very controversial. And for Chidi, yeah, man, I think he's a fun fighter, but I think Rodrigues more complete. I think Chidi had that knockout power early on, but he didn't put him away, and Rodrigues eventually did. So, amazing fight, man. Such a beautiful fight, but so crazy. We see two of the nastiest cuts back to back.
Unreal, eh? Unfucking real. Like the sport's so crazy sometimes. Like you get again. I remember that card in England where Paul Craig submitted Ankalaev at the last second. It was the latest stoppage, and then later on, Leon Edwards knocked out Peter Sabata with the last second. And then on this card, you have back to back with the cuts. It's funny when that happens, right? Like you have these rare instances. Like you don't see cuts like this that often. Go ahead.
Or the two Suluev stretches with
that's insane too. That was on the Woodley Till card, in Dallas. That was insane too. Like, what are the odds, right? It's just so crazy. Chidi's won 3 bonuses in his 3 UFC fights, so he's making good money even though he lost this fight. The problem is he's 34. He's turning 30. He's turning 34 at the end of the year. He's 88 like me. That's the problem, So it's a bad loss for him, but it was a good fight.
He's a typical guy who is really entertaining to watch, but came a little bit too late in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like just maybe just after his prime, maybe, or would have hit his prime. So, but like you say, very fun fighter. And I mean, if you get 3 bonuses in 3 fights, you won 2 with knockout and 1 fight in the night, you can get worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, great fight, deserved fight of the night. Really enjoyed that one. And but that cut, man. That I showed it to some of my colleagues at Eurosport who watch other sports, right? It's like, guys, you should have watched this, but make sure you can have it, because it's a nasty cut, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm in the meeting. What are you sending me?"
That's funny. So he's actually having a child next month, so he wants to take some time off. But when he comes back, who do you want to see him fight? Gregory Rodrigues.
Oh man, I think he deserves a top 15 guy.
Yes, 100%.
Difficult.
Chris Curtis, is that a good fight? Chris Curtis?
Yeah, why not? I think Chris Curtis would like to fight as well. So yeah,
I think so too. I think that'd be a good fight. He's number 15. It just makes sense. It's kind of crazy, right? He lost to Armin, and that wasn't that long ago. That was actually earlier this year. Yeah. But even though he lost that fight to Armin Petrosian, I almost feel like he's above him in the rankings now, Marcel.
For sure he is. Armin lost to
Barallo,
right?
To Barallo, bad loss too. It wasn't like exciting, and we get some comments here. Someone's asking about who's next for Chidi, by the way. Not sure. Someone mentioned Bruno Silva here in the chat. That would be good. Oh, this would be a good fight too. Buckley. I think Buckley against either guy would be great. Buckley and Chidi sounds great to me too, to be honest. I feel like Gregory deserves a top 15 guy. That's my thoughts. Glenn thinks the fight should have been stopped. He's lucky the vein didn't rush the tailway into the sport. It was a horrendous cut. That, by the way, the image of him floating around saying he looks more like RoboCop now. It's hilarious, by the
way. Imagine that vein getting ruptured or something.
Bro, it's just it's scary to think about. Like, they really should have stopped it. Now
I was seeing the picture after it. I was like, what the hell? It's like, I've never seen something like that, and it's like, like I said, at the fight, when I was watching and the doctor didn't stop it, I was like, cool, he let it go, But when you see it from close up, I'm like, dude, this shouldn't have continued probably. But hey, I'm happy it didn't went to the scorecards or something, I mean, that would have been crazy. But I mean, this is something we will see for a long time, probably in the sport. If we refer to the worst cut, we come to this one.
This has got to be up there for sure. Like you said, the Marvin Eastman one is bad, but this is up there. I agree with this. I mean, it just shows you again, MMA math doesn't work and stuff. Because Jordan Williams would be like one of the best middleweights in the world right now, but the guy's terrible. So He's not in the UFC anymore, but he knocked this guy out, right? It
It's
happens.
crazy. Yeah, with the Contender series, right?
Right, and he's been cut. Like Mickey Gall dropped the guy, so it's kind of crazy. Let's keep going here.
And sometimes it's like probably also how you feel that day. You can have a bad day, and you can maybe lose to guys who are maybe even not on your level. And
yeah,
back to Jordan Williams here, but I
yeah.
feel that's the way. If you look at how Rodrigues fought so far in the UFC, he's shown his real talent. And I think also his training with Kill Cliff, he went after that fight with Jordan Williams. He went to Sanford.
Great move.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
I'm so stupid I picked against this guy. Remember, I picked that camp every fight, and then all of a sudden, this is the one guy I'm like, I'm not sold on this dude. How can I pick against him now after this fight, though? Like, the guy's got so much heart. Go ahead.
True, but I understand it, man. I mean, Chidi got knockout power, and you saw it in the first round. I think many people would have got to sleep with that knee. So, I mean,
I can't believe he survived it. It's unbelievable. And then he looked even better after that, which is crazy. What's up, Gorilla? How's it going, man? Glad to have you in the chat, buddy. I love the Robobama nickname, although he's like, guys, I'm only 30. That guy's old. He's like 50. I thought that was hilarious.
He's like he talked to my colleague, and he was like, my colleague's like, I got to ask you this, Barack Obama, and he started laughing. He's like, come on, man. He's like, Barack Obama, he's a good president, but he's old and I'm handsome. So
Marcel took the words out of my mouth for I've seen the two. Yeah. What's up, Daniel? How's it going, man? Glad to have you in the chat, Daniel, again. Who's Blockhead? Who's Blockhead? Robocop versus Blockhead. Who's Blockhead, man? I can't think of who it is right now. Robocop learned to tuck his chin. I mean, he got clipped in this fight, but you're right. His chin just held up better. It's holding up well. All right, let's go to the next fight here on the card. RJ Feely versus Bill Algeo. Split decision win for Feely. I think we both picked Algeo, I want to say, last week. I thought Feely won the fight. I think he won the third round. I don't agree with Chris Lee's scorecard giving the third round. Like, the guy had him in a submission attempt. He had him in a body lock. He's going for the neck the whole time. The guy's going like this. He's just punching him. But those aren't significant strikes. Those are total strikes. If you look at, the stats, there's a differentiation between a significant strike and a total strike. I don't think that did a lot of damage. Like, personally, that's why I would give it to Feely. So I don't agree with the scorecard. Although I was crossing my fingers, Marcel, because I did bet on Algeo. So I was hoping, but I think Feely won the fight, guys. That's my thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think Feely won the fight. I think the first and third round were his. The second round was Algeo's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that maybe some judges are like, or one judge in this particular case, that he was like, Algeo is landing the shots that Feely is just on his back. But Feely was working. You know what I mean? He was not just stalling the fight or whatever.
Yep.
So you shouldn't give that round to Algeo, in my opinion. I think it was clear 2-1 to Andre Feely.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly, dude, imagine him losing this one. He hasn't got a win since 2020, definitely because of no contest against Pineda, which he was winning actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that would have been awful if he lost this one, and now he won it. I think should have been unanimous. I think Algeo broke his arm in the first round. Algeo's arm was broken in the first round. So, but yeah, good win for Feely. He needed this one, and you got the full circle now, right? Algeo defeated Joanderson Brito. Brito defeated Feely, and Feely beat Algeo. So
yeah, I mean, math doesn't always work, right? It doesn't, and I even referenced this in the fight, but it just doesn't work always, guys. So. Yeah, but I like both guys. I mean, Algeo will be back. He's also having a kid soon, so he'll be back next year. I think he's going to take some time off as well. Judge should be fired. I mean, I think it's a bad scorecard, but
it's Chris Lee. What you expect?
It's not. It's I mean, it's not his worst scorecard.
No,
he's the guy who scored Paul Felder over RD, and Paul Felder's like, "What the? Remember that? Like, you think the fighter's like, okay, you're fucking wrong. Like, that is wrong." Yeah. So. Let's get some.
That's also, I can remember back in the day, Josh Neer fighting Nate Diaz, and he got a scorecard, and Josh Neer was like, "No, man, I didn't want that fight."
Yeah. That's funny. Feely and Arosa would be a great fight. I would love to see that fight.
Yeah.
Off topic, what you guys pick for Badr Hari versus Overeem? I don't follow Glory as much as Marcel does, but I would pick Badr Hari because I think Overeem's chin is completely gone. I guess that's your pick.
Badr Hari isn't the same guy anymore he was years ago, but I'm still picking him in kickboxing. So
is that this weekend?
No, I think it's in October sometime.
Cool. No worries. Watching the fight live. Hey, Marcus, what's up, man? Watching the fight live, I thought the strikes landed. Algeo landed a third, and Feely landed backward. TC strikes are bothering Feely, and over 40 strikes in that position. He did. He actually landed. I'm just looking at the stats right now. It was okay. So here's the thing: significant strikes 8 to 10 for Algeo. So he had 2 more significant strikes. Total strikes 74-16. So they weren't calling it a sniffer, they're calling it total strikes. But 4 minutes of back control with 2 submission attempts, I really feel like that kind of overrides those strikes personally. So again, it's not the worst scorecard Chris Lee has had. I just didn't agree with it, although I was crossing my fingers because I had that plus money at LGO. Let's go to the next one here. Our boy Joe Pyfer knocks out Alan Amedovski. I mean, Marcel, like, this fight was such a mismatch in the beginning. Alan Amedovski is awful. He's 0-4 in the UFC with 3 stoppage losses in the last 3 fights. He's just not a good fighter at all. He's 100% getting cut. I'm shocked he even got the 4 fights. This is an easy fight for Pyfer. I know. Okay, here's the thing. He got the bonus. Dana loves him. Sean Shelby loves him. He didn't deserve a bonus. I'm sorry, but he didn't. This fight was a complete joke. I don't hate him getting bonus because he's a guy that I like. I actually really like this guy, Marcel. Like, he's very likable. He's a very good fighter. He had a tough go, right? He broke his arm in that fight with Stoltzfus and had to wait 2 more years to get his chance in the UFC. He's making the most of it. But I just think there was better performances on the card personally. I wouldn't have given him the bonus, but yeah, it was a nice knockout. Any thoughts?
Free money, KO first round Pyfer. I mean, it was pretty obvious that was going to happen. I would have gave it to Jillian Robertson over Pyfer for the simple reason that I think Pyfer got a gimme fight in his debut, And I think we saw that before, man, where the UFC favors a guy and they give him pretty much an easy fight, to make his debut or to get back on track, And normally they never give him 50K when that happens, and now they do out of a sudden. I'm happy for Pyfer, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good start to your UFC career, knocking somebody out in the first round, although it's Alan Amedovski, who hasn't showed anything in his UFC career so far. Was actually funny. You saw a clip before the fight, and they showed him on top of Jotko. I think that was just the 2 seconds he was on top of Jotko in that fight. That's the only good footage they found of his in the UFC. Yeah, he's probably gone. I have nothing against the guy, but he's just not UFC caliber. We saw it in all of his 4 fights. So, and for Joe Pyfer, I always want to say Pfeiffer because of that actress whose name is Pfeiffer.
We're doing the Pfeiffer or something? Is that
yeah. I think Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Sorry, I think of Winona Ryder. Yeah.
So, but I feel like he said also like Dana bought him a house for a year or something, after the fight. He said that. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, I did. Sorry, can you say what you said again?
Yeah, I think he said something like Dana bought him a house or something.
No, that's not what happened. I watched the interview today. I was actually shaving my head,
okay,
and I had my laptop there. I was watching some of the interviews. Dana gave him some extra money on the side after Contender to help him basically pay his rent at his condo, but he wants to buy a house. That's what he said. So his goal is to buy a house, but he got extra money on the side. They love him after that fight. Yeah. Remember that first card of the year at Contender?
Of course, who doesn't?
Garbage.
We don't want to remember that.
Amazing line, like "Be like Joe Pyfer," right? Mm-hmm. And that whole hashtag thing's going around now. He didn't buy him a house, but he gave him extra money. I don't know how much money he gave him. We can guess, maybe like 50K. I have no idea. But he got another 50K for this, and he obviously got his show and win. I think he's on a 12-12 contract, guys. So I don't mind him getting that money. I'm just saying, Marcel, I think there was better performances personally against harder fights.
So, that's what I mean as well. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What's up, Brian? Can you understand why the next fight is in 2 weeks? We don't know. We actually don't know. There are more fights on it than that, though, Brian. You just got to look at Marcel's Instagram page. You'll see all the fights. But the UFC stats site only has like 6 fights, like you mentioned. So not all are official, but if you look at Topology, they'll have them listed, right? So,
Topology, ESPN, UFC Stats.
UFC Stats doesn't have it listed right now.
My pinned tweet, you can
just look at his schedule on Marcel. Marcel's got this great schedule. That's why he's got all those followers on Twitter because people love him for that. So just check that out. It'll be interesting who Joe Pyfer fights next. I like Philly guys producing killers like Strawberry. Well, they are, but our boy Pat Sabatini lost. That's surprising. We'll talk about him in a few minutes, but. Who should Pfeiffer? Now you said it. Damn it. It's Pyfer. It's definitely Joe Pyfer. Okay. It's not an F at the beginning. It's Joe Pyfer. Who's the Joseph Holmes? He's the other guy that beat Amedovski. They could do that fight.
He's fighting John Park next. Maybe the winner.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a hard fight for him, to be honest with you. Jung Park's good. So I'm gonna look at the middleweight division right now.
Marc-Andre Barrios.
You could, but I think they're gonna build him slow. That's what
your Canadian heart doesn't want that fight.
No, and Barrios he broke his ribs, right? So he's gonna take time off. Yeah. Middleweights. Let's take a look quickly. Look at guys who are like 1-0 or something. Abasupian, they're not going to give him that guy. There's no chance. Just taking a look. I don't really know. I mean, you could do. I don't know, Marcel. I thought that the Holmes fight makes sense. There's a lot of guys that have fights coming up in this division like right now that make sense. He's gonna, you know what? I think he even said he wants some time off anyway, so there's no rush. He'll fight someone coming off of win. Maybe like Dennis Tululin. They could do that fight. That would be a good fight, Dennis Tululin.
Or the winner of Nick Maximov against Wellington Turman. Oh no, Wellington Turman is fighting Petrosky. Who's Maximov fighting?
Maximov? He definitely got a fight booked.
Yeah, he's booked.
Fight Jacob Malkoun, like what?
Yeah,
maybe it's going to be one of the most boring fights of the year, probably.
Don't do that to Piper.
Juan says Dustin Stoltz used the rematch. You know what? I don't mind that. Hopefully, he doesn't break his arm this time. I actually don't mind that fight. That would be okay too. Rodrigo Nascimento defeats Tanner Boser by split decision. Tanner Boser. Remember, I even said, Marcel, I'm like, if he doesn't knock him out, he might lose this decision because he doesn't win decisions. He's 1-4 in decisions in the UFC, but he's 3-0 in fights that go to with stoppage. Guy's in the wrong weight class. And he's the one being stubborn about it. You know, reporters ask him, like, do you want to go 2-5? No, what are you asking me about that for? I'm staying at heavyweight. He gets upset. He weighed 229. That's not a heavyweight. And he's fighting a guy that's 263 or something. And Nascimento, a big dude that can lay on top of you and just hold you in the ground. That's basically what he did to win the fight. Although his stand-up looked better than I thought, Nascimento. I'll give him credit. But, you know, Marcel, like, Boser's only win in the last 2 years is against OSP. And OSP is not a heavyweight either. So he's in the wrong weight class. If he wants to stay at heavyweight, he's not going to win very many fights, quite frankly. That speed advantage is not going to help you when you're on the ground getting someone laying on top of you. Again, I like Boser. I'm not trying to talk shit about the guy because I really do like him. He's Canadian. He's a funny dude. He's in the wrong weight class, Marcel. And he's just hurting himself by not cutting an extra 25 pounds. He can easily cut that weight, okay? I think most light heavyweights weigh 230, guys. Let's be honest. They mostly do. I would imagine like guy like Blachowicz weighs 230 and cuts to 205, you know, for instance. So, I mean, guys like, I remember Forrest Griffin, he used to fight 205 as the champ. He used to say he cut from 240. So, I don't think, especially Boser's not like, he's not completely shredded either. He could probably lose even a few more pounds and then cut the water. Chris Dawkins is the other guy. Chris also needs to cut to 205, in my opinion.
Maybe they should fight each other at the catch weight of 220, and who loses can stay at heavyweight, and who wins has to go at 205.
Do you agree, though, he should drop to 205? I don't think he can win fights at heavyweight, man.
I think so. But I want to ask you something, Adam. Sure. Who did you score the fight for, and how much?
I had it for Nascimento. I think it was, I can't remember what rounds it was. I'm gonna check out my decisions again. I want to see the score.
Not to shit on all my co-workers, but everybody in Eurosport had it for Boser, but I was the only one who had it for Nascimento. I thought Nascimento won the fight. You know,
what rounds did you give him? I can't remember which ones.
I think I gave him 1 and 3. And
I think that's what. The sad thing is, I'm looking at the scorecards. Adelaide Bird had that same scorecard, but I actually think she was right.
So it's like the thing is, like they say, like Tanner Boser outstrike him. Yeah, from the bottom, and it weren't hard shots. You know what I mean? It's not like it did a lot of damage or whatever. So it was just a bad fight, I think. And in my opinion, Nascimento did enough to win the fight. So I gave it 29-28. Him wasn't even a question for me. Then I heard it was a split decision. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe I saw
that's questionable. That's definitely. I also think 30-27 is a little off because I think it's closer than that. But it's just crazy. We agree with Adelaide Bird on this one, man. That's shocking because she's clueless when it comes to scoring fights.
You saw Adelaide Bird again when two, I don't know which fight that was. Two fighters were in front of her, but that octagon pole was in front of her. She's like,
I know. I see that. So I think in Vegas they have monitors too. Like they can use the monitor. I'm pretty sure they have them in Vegas. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do.
I really, guys, if one of you guys is in Vegas or has been in Vegas, please check out what you see from the judges' side and if they have monitors, because I want to know. I really still don't really know if they actually have monitors.
Yeah, they do. I'm just checking right now. They do. They have them.
Yeah.
They've actually had them for 10. They've had them for 11 years, dude. I'm looking right now. They've had them since 2011. Okay, so if they're refusing to use, that's their fault. It's right in front of them.
Yeah.
I think they should be looking in the cage, but those instances where the pole's in front of them, go to the monitor. You know, it's there for a reason. It's there to help you. Actually, when you watch Dana outside the cage, Dana doesn't even watch the fights in the cage.
I know he's
He
always
only looks at the monitor, which is like, why is he even cage side at that point? Like, so he can hear it, I guess. But anyways, he can hang around heavy and get winnable fights. And who's he going to beat though? Like, he's losing all these fights, man. Like, I like Boser, but how many opponents does he beat at heavyweight? They're so big, right? So
it's like for Boser wants to get in the top 15, and in the top 15, he's not going to beat a lot of guys, I think, in the top 15 right now. Maybe some, yeah, Shamil Abdurakhimov, maybe,
he could
are
beat him.
guys who are really like depleted over there. We're still in the top 15, but
Yeah,
there are a lot of guys. Listen, man, Almeida's coming up as well, although I think he would be also better fit at 205. But the thing is, he can make 205, and
yeah.
he's willing to go to 205. I think for Boser, and I know he would hate it if he hears me, but I think it would be better for him, and maybe he should consider it. You got the PI, you got to figure it out with those people there. Why not? Why not give it a shot? Try to cut down, try to go to there, and if it doesn't work, you still can go back to heavyweight if you think that's better for you.
Yep. Let's go to the next fight here. Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy defeats Marco Barrio, third round submission. Controlled the whole fight with the wrestling.
Bro.
8 takedowns in the fight. He looked great. Barrio's a tough dude. He had a broken rib. I think in the first round he survived till the third, but I mean it's just too much pain, and eventually submits him. Fluffy's looked great. Marcel. I think he's also a guy that could get some in the top 15. He's looked awesome.
He fucking spiked him on his head.
Okay, so the pile driver thing, I got to be honest. Like, I think that when I look at the rules, I read the rules as soon as it happened. I go to the rules. It says you cannot drop a guy right directly in their head. That to me looked like a spike, a pile driver. I think that's a foul, guys.
That was. And nobody said something, but I thought the same thing.
I'm like, how do you not know this? Like, to me, that looked like a spike. The referee also didn't say it. There's situations like there was that guy remember that Tombstone guy, the pile driver on the Contender.
Yeah. But he had a submission, right?
Yeah, there was that Goga guy, and he got knocked out by Darius Flowers. I want to say his name was a couple weeks ago. That's legal because, again, if you look at the rules, it says if the guy's in a submission, you can actually do that to get out of the submission. But it wasn't a submission, man. He just dropped him on his head.
Same with Rose versus Andrade, Jessica Andrade in the title fight. And I think we saw before with Patrick Cote as well against Belcher, right?
Yeah, that was all. I think that was a pile driver too. It seemed
like
that was in Montreal years ago. I remember that one. Yeah. California does fight day weigh-ins, fighters like Ladenstein, put on 23. Boser could definitely. I agree completely with that, by the way. Fluffy or Mearshar would be a great fight. That fight makes a lot. I love that fight. That's an awesome fight, dude. Is it Fluffy's fault? I mean, he dropped him on his head. You're right. I mean, Barrio kind of like, I guess, I don't know. Like, is it Barrio's fault? Like, he spiked him on his head.
Bro, do you remember the Randleman fatal throw? Was also right on his head. A fader arm barred him a minute later.
Yeah, I could see this fight being overturned. I don't know. Like, I mean, it didn't seem like they're gonna. Unless I'm missing something, I didn't hear Barrio saying he's gonna appeal it, but maybe his managers look into that. Is able having an arc to the slam? It just says I was looking at the rules the other day. I know the rules obviously, but I always like to get a brush up on them because there are some rules like that. Time to time kind of confused, obviously, and this is one of them. It just says like you cannot directly spike a guy into the head, basically using a pile driver. That's what it looked like to me, honestly. But the judges or the ref didn't say anything. The judges didn't say anything either. They could have pulled the judges or whatever, and the commentators didn't say anything either. So it is what it is. I think Fluffy was the better fighter. He deserved the win. So it's not even a big deal, but it definitely damaged the guy. There's no doubt about it. Let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Let's get through these prelims kind of quick, but I do want to talk about this fight here. I was completely wrong about this fight. Pat Sabatini just got destroyed. Damon Jackson, as soon as I heard, actually earlier this week, Cole sent me his tweet saying like something about missing his brother, and Cole's like, "Hey, I think like his brother might have died or something, or his sister too." And I was like, "What the hell?" And then obviously during the fight, they mentioned his brother passed away like right when he's walking out, and I'm like, "Oh shit," because I know that gives someone extra motivation. Obviously, Damon Jackson looked. This is the best version of him ever. Like, the fight didn't last that long. Let's be honest. Like, if the fight went 3 rounds, who knows, Marcel? Honestly, like maybe it would have played out like we thought with a Sabatini decision, but it didn't play out that way, man. He got knocked out, front kick, uppercut, and then just smashed him on the ground with the back control. 100% deserved the bonus. Happy for the guy who got the bonus. Sad for him, obviously, with the personal tragedy, but he looked amazing. And I was wrong about this fight. This was the one I was just really wrong about. So, any quick thoughts?
Same. It was 100% legit drama, bad things on this card, man. Like Jackson losing his brother, Feely with the miscarriage with his girlfriend.
Yes, that's
Um,
right. That's terrible.
Loma Lukbunme, we said she wanted to do
We'll
how do
talk
you
about
say?
her self-harm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like a lot of that kind of stuff that's really bad, you know. And I was super happy for Damon Jackson. He seems like such a good guy, you know. I remember when he was at PFL, he got knocked out by Kai Bulayev early, and people sending him like, "I wish you would die" or something, you know. He said that thing in the James Lynch interview, and he deleted all his social media, his Instagram, his
yeah. I remember
Twitter.
that. Yeah, I
He's
remember that.
back. Yeah, he's back now, and people are like, "You shouldn't be such a baby about it." But listen, guys, I mean, it's the job these guys have. They do a lot. They work 24/7 on their skills. They work hard, and then people saying like, "I hope you die in the cage." It's just horrible, you know.
Yeah,
And some guys just can't handle that, and I kind of understand that, man. If you hear that and you're in a bad spot at that moment, you know. So he deleted all the social media, I remember, and now he's back on social media, and he looks better than ever, man. In the UFC, it's such a good run. I think only Topuria was able to beat him, and Topuria is a super talented guy, you know. But his wins are very good, man. The Sabatini win. Man, I mean, if you can put Pat Sabatini win first round against and Sabatini looked good. He pretty much he broke the Daniel Gracie guy's streak, you know. Um, yeah, what can I say about Damon Jackson? Amazing win. I'm very happy
yeah.
for him, you know.
Me too. It was a great win. Um, I agree with this, Rudy. I was thinking about this too. I really was because it's just every fight's different, right? Like you can't be
Mhm.
like, okay, they're going to continue winning
It
because
was a fun stat, you know.
it was a stat. But Marcel, like he's right. Eventually, they're going to
Mhm.
lose, and I just didn't think it would be this fight, but it was. So yeah, is Movsar and Bryce 5 rounds? No, I think it's 3, unfortunately, because I think it should be 5 personally. It's
I
such a
think
great fight.
should be the main event, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do Rodrigues against Lamos as the main event.
I would have rather. Yeah, I think that's going to be the main event too. But I think this fight, I wish they booked it sooner and they could have did it instead of Rougeau and Grasso, because I just don't think that should be main event. Let's go through the rest of these kind of quick, Marcel, because let's be honest, the first couple fights weren't the most action packed. This fight was garbage. Trevin Giles and Louis
Oh
Costi.
God,
What a horrible fight. I know this is going to be on your this is on your what's it called? Your
insomnia list.
insomnia list. There's not much to say about this fight. It was terrible.
This is
Yeah,
a fight where like Cosi couldn't do better, and Giles was like, "I needed a win here.
yeah,
Let's ride it out." You know what I mean? It's just, man. I mean, this wasn't even a sparring match. It was way worse than a sparring match, you know. And I don't like to shit on guys, but this fight, man. I mean, everybody literally listen, man. You got some of these journalists on Twitter who are like super vanilla and don't say anything bad anytime, you know. Literally everybody was shitting on this fight. So
it was
bad was this
terrible.
fight, you know.
Yeah,
This fight sucked from start to the end, you know. I was happy. I know it's called football here. You guys say soccer. I was happy. I also had soccer on
yeah,
because there was a good how do you say that? Were a good 10 minutes of a soccer match they put together, and I could watch that instead of this fight. You know,
yeah.
because literally nothing happened. It was
I
horrible.
agree. I think Costi could have won if he just tried doing anything, like
Yeah.
something, anything. Like he just until the third round, then he
But what
starts
happened to
busting.
Giles, dude? What happened
I
to
don't know. Giles
Giles?
also looks terrible. They both are not good, man. Costi, that first fight of Palatnikov, remember he knocked him down and gassed out. I guess
Yeah.
he overcorrect. This is an overcorrection though. It's like he didn't want to do anything not to gas out again. He was terrified
Hmm.
of getting tired. Because I'll be honest with you, Marcel, I've heard from fighters the one thing that you don't want to have happen to you in a fight is get tired during a fight because that's scary, right? Because you're in a bad spot. You're tired. You can't do anything. You're basically gonna quit. But it's like he didn't do anything just to retain that energy to wrestle him in the third round. It was horrible. Let's just go to the next fight. Loma Bumi defeats Denise Gomes by unanimous decision. Like you said, after the fight, Loma starts talking about how she was talking about like suicide and like self-harm and stuff. That's terrible.
Loma.
Obviously, don't want to hear. Yeah, Loma. Yeah, don't want to hear that stuff. It's sad to say, but I mean, everyone goes through that, right? Like even fighters, normal people, everyone. I thought she looked good. Again, she's well-rounded, right? She's so good striking and good wrestling. There was that choke. I want to say, was it third round? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think third round. Yeah.
Was it the head or arm choke? I
Yeah.
thought, man, I thought it could be over, but again, so wet at that point. Your girl Gomes lost Marcel, but she'll be back. She took it on short notice.
I mean,
Solid performance by Loma. I mean, it wasn't the greatest fight, but she did what she had to do to win.
I enjoyed the fight. You know, I think Loma looked really good on her grappling as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she's more a stand-up fighter, obviously. Um, I think she looked really good. I really hope, man, the UFC should implement the atomweight division. I think, I think Loma now fought a girl with like kind of her size, But if she fight a bigger girl, she's in trouble. You saw that before. I think atomweight would be perfect, to add to the UFC. I think one of my colleagues said like just put Loma in the atomweight division and let her fight atomweight fights because she will be great over there. I think she will be. If you look at Denise Gomez short notice fight, looked pretty good, but Loma was better. I think Loma deserved to win here, and good. I think it was a fun fight. I enjoyed the fight, a lot of fun grappling, some fun striking. Overall, a good fight. So yeah, good matchmaking here, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Trey Ogden pulls up the biggest upset in the card with Zell Huber. I didn't see this coming. I'll be honest with you. I thought Zell Huber would win. Zell Huber had the octagon jitters, guys. There's no doubt about it. He just, yeah. Go ahead.
Daniel Zellhuber, it's just like I tweeted it out. It's like just like Taylor Santos. She sent her twin sister. He sent his twin brother. I was like, what the hell was this, man? We saw this guy in Contender Series against Lucas Almeida, and he looked like an amazing prospect, a great fighter, And he didn't do jack shit in this fight, barely, And Ogden, very smart game plan from the outside, picking his shots, doing what he had to do, and a good win for Ogden here, an unexpected one. I think Ogden was probably the biggest underdog to win on this card. I think. I don't know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me, please. But yeah, I didn't expect it. There were some people who were picking for Ogden against Zell Huber. I was like, okay, maybe you guys know something we don't know. But yeah, I was surprised with how Zell Huber fought, and let's hope it were the octagon jitters because I think he can be so much better.
Yeah, it was just a horrible performance. Let's be honest. Yeah. He just looked lost. Like. Mm-hmm. I think it was more him losing the fight than Ogden really win. I mean, Ogden had a good game plan. I'll give him credit. And I know that Kraus, obviously, he's his coach. He put together a good game plan. I know Kraus made some good money on this fight because he was a huge underdog.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure. I really didn't see this coming. It is what it is. These upsets happen occasionally. Julian Robertson submits Maria Agapova. I mean, what can we say? Robertson, again, the submission. She's the best submission artist probably in the division, right? Like, she's incredible on the ground. But I gotta be honest, Marcel, like that first round was not good. And remember, I picked Agapova by knockout. I'm looking at the stats right now. She outlanded her 37-2 in significant strikes and total strikes 82-2. I thought, that when she went for that single leg takedown against the fence and there was those hammer fists and the elbows, dude, I really thought she was gonna get knocked out there. I really did. I don't need to say his name, but a friend of mine, I don't really talk to him too much anymore. He messaged me like during the fight on Twitter and was like, "You're completely wrong. You're only listening to the commentators and what they're saying." I'm like, "No, dude, I was watching the fight. It looked like she was about to be knocked out cold. It really did with those Travis Brown elbows and stuff." Good for Robertson for surviving, but I thought she was done, dude. I really did. Go ahead.
I gave the first round to Agapova because of those strikes. I think Robertson tried to get the takedown and to control on the ground, but Agapova landed way more damage. I gave the first round to Agapova. Second round, I mean, Agapova didn't do a lot anymore, and Robertson got her and submitted her. She didn't want to tap, and she was like, "Do you remember when a snake is attacking like a cobra? It's like." And she made that same, like when she was out, she was like having that kind of weird, how do you say that reflex,
Yeah. You think they release her, Marcel Agapova?
I don't know, man, because she is entertaining if she can get her game going. You know what I mean? If she got her game, but her ground game is a big flaw, I think, in her game. She has a bad takedown defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And she's way too wild on the striking. She's too wild, and she's very vulnerable for wrestlers or for people who want to get her to the ground. So I think she has potential, but I think she has a lot of work to do. And yeah, maybe one more. I don't know. We will see. I don't know what her contract is. If this was the last fight on her contract, they probably don't re-sign her, I think. But if she has one more fight, yeah, you can give her another fight. Why not? I think she's entertaining. But I mean, well done by Robertson, and she got some records in her right now. I think more submissions or more stoppages. I don't know, but yeah, good for her.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because Agapova, it was just a year ago when she beat Sabina Mazo and looked amazing in that fight. Like, she looked better than ever. And then since then, she looked horrible again. So she's just very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or Mrs. Hyde, I should say, in this case. Javid Basharat defeats Tony Gravely by decision. I think we both picked him in this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Basharat. I think that he lost the first round. All the judges had it 29-28. I kind of agree with that. I know some people thought he might have won it, but I thought Gravely won the first. But after that, obviously, Basharat took over. He looked good. Any quick thoughts on this one?
I think Basharat did well. You know, you had the clash of heads in the first round,
Yes.
and he pulled through to it, and he won the rest of the fight. The thing is, um, I think gradually started well, but he was getting tired at a certain moment, and
Mhm.
Basharat could keep that same pace for 3 rounds. You know,
Yep.
so at a certain moment he took over, and it wasn't completely how do you say that? It wasn't a domination or whatever. I think it was competitive, but Basharat just a better guy, or had more cardio, I think, and a
Yep.
good win for him. I mean, Gravely, good fighter. So yeah, I think it pretty much went how we both expected. So.
Yep, I agree. And then Nicholas Mata knocks out Cameron Van Camp to start the card. Cameron Van Camp, Marcel, just keeps his chin in the air, doesn't tuck it. 2 straight knockout lot. I don't think he's UFC caliber, honestly. I really don't. I think he's going to be released. It was a nice win for Mata. He
He's
called for a bonus. I wouldn't have minded if he got a bonus because he's been through a lot himself, but doesn't get it because it was so early in the card. Any quick thoughts on this one?
I think he's always been homeless right before he fought for the first time in the UFC because he didn't have a fight for 1.5 2 years. The thing is, like with Cameron Van Camp, no disrespect to the guy, but he's a typical regional fighter who wins regional titles, but probably can't count it in the UFC. You know what I mean? I think we saw him twice. Though the first one was a short notice fight against Andre Fiallo, which I understand is difficult, and he got stopped in that fight. But this time against Moda, he didn't look good. Had his chin up high. Moda pretty much, I think, was just a clean knockout. Was kind of TKO knockout. Good win for Moda, but I don't know with Van Camp, you know. But if you can give Amadovsky 4 fights, you can give Van Camp another fight, I think. But who against? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know who he beats, honestly. We'll get some couple comments here, guys. Oh yeah, the tongue bite thing was crazy too. Like the ref, who's the ref in that fight? I gotta check right now.
Toyoni probably, I say.
Mark Smith.
Well, Smith.
He should have stopped it a few seconds sooner. But to be fair, she also had the opportunity to tap and refused to. So it's
By
not
the
always
way,
in the ref, man. Go ahead.
what the hell was Toyoni doing with the Piper Amadovsky one, where Piper knocked him out, and he was like,
Fight should have
was
been
he
stopped right
sleeping?
away.
Was he sleeping
He didn't
again?
want to punch him again. I know that fight should have
Yeah.
been stopped right away. Shavkat fight news, nothing. I haven't heard anything. All right, that's it for this card. Any last thoughts on this card, Marcel? Like I said, every week when we do this, I always get your last thoughts and we move on because like I look forward to these events so much, right? And we talk about them, we look forward to them, we watch them, and then it's over. So any quick last thoughts on this card before we move on?
Overall fun card delivered. Definitely, I think the co-main event delivered some fun finishes on the card with a huge stinker between Giles and Kosi. But overall, a fun card, you know, a typical fight night card where some
Yeah.
are hit and some are missed, but a good card, you know.
Completely agreed. Okay, let's go to Contender Series, Marcel. We'll just
Yeah.
recap the last week's Contender Series. We're going to do another podcast in 5 minutes. We're going to do the Bellator Contender. It'll be a shorter podcast. We'll do that, and we'll take any questions. All right, let's do this. Let's go through this quickly. Daniel Marcos defeats Brandon Lewis, gets a contract. Thought he looked really good. Didn't really know a lot about this guy, but he looked good. Bruno Brazil gets that crazy knockout with the head kick. 100% got signed and deserved to get signed. My boy Trevor Peak, Marcel, I called him as an underdog. Remember I said this is the guy for Spectation Sports, that a promotion I do some work for. And
Dude.
he had that knockout win over Conor Worthy. And man, what a comeback, eh?
Well, yeah, that guy is tough, you know, really tough. He surprised me, not gonna lie. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, he's done after the first round, but he came back, and how, you know, great.
Unbelievable. Ikram Aliskerov, you got the Kamir over Mario Souza, who's not, I don't think
Easy win.
He's not getting another fight in Contender, by the way. He's got 3 and he's lost them all. And then Fareed Basharat gets through over Bagosa by decision, gets a contract. All 5 of them get a contract. Go ahead.
Let's be honest, Aliskerov shouldn't have been on the Contender Series.
No.
You know, he's way too good. You know,
yeah, 100%. I mean, he's only lost to Hamza, right? He got that win over.
Literally.
He has a submission win over Dennis Tulun, like recently, who's in the UFC. It really makes sense that he had to go through it. All right, that's it for this podcast, guys. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. But again, we're going to start another one right now, and we'll just go through the next Contender and Bellator. So, Marcel, if you want, just plug your stuff really quick, and we'll start the next show.
Yeah, it's still Big Marcel 24 on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find my articles if you can read Dutch, which you can't, on Eurosport.nl Mixed Martial Arts.
I can't, but I also can use the Google Translate button, right? So
yeah, true. Word.
Twitter at @MadamMartin, as you guys know. Podcast MMAOBsBreaker.com. It's on our YouTube. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places you guys can find your podcast. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Really like the back and forth with you guys. Always love that. A lot of preview shows that I don't really watch a lot of the other preview shows now, but most of them don't take questions during the previews, guys. So I hope you guys do appreciate it. We're going back and forth with you while we're giving our thoughts on these fights, and I love doing it. Bookies.com. No article this week, but I'll be back next week with my best bets, and then MyMMAOs.com for some news. All right, guys, we're going to start the next podcast in a minute, so just bear with us, and we'll do the Bellator and Contender Series preview. Peace.